Hey, people, welcome to The Word with Keenan and Kiki, where we drop real, dope, live sales wisdom in a non-boring and corporate formal way. We have time for that shit. So, Kiki, how you doing today?
Feeling good. Excited to have another awesome sales lady on our show.
I know, I love the ladies. For those of you who don't know, you need to go check out one of our first episodes. What are we on episode? This is episode 29. This is Sales Jolt, The Word, episode 29. That's crazy, people, because we do this every 2 weeks, not every week. So we're well past a year of doing this.
Wow.
But that being said, I love the ladies. If you haven't seen it, one of the first ones was Ladies in Sales with Jill Conrath and, oh my God, the COO of
Teresa Taylor.
Yeah, Teresa. Yeah, I'm sorry?
Teresa Taylor.
Yeah, Taylor. Yes, that's right. She was the former COO of, no, it's working. Former COO of Quest. No, get back. Put him back in.
Okay.
I can hear you just fine. So now we got another great lady today. Now we have Nancy Nardin. Nancy is the queen of sales tools. Nancy is, look, sales enablement has blown up this world of what people call it the sales stack now, and the sales tools available to you. And there are hundreds of them available to you. So we thought, why not do a show today to help people figure out how to pick the sales tools, when to know what sales tool is working, what sales tools they should consider, and everything and anything else under the sun for this next 50 minutes of how sales tools impact sales organizations. So without any further ado, and I hate that term, let's just jump into it. Nancy Nardin, welcome, sister.
Thank you. We've got a lot to talk about today, Keenan, and I do have to say I've got to cut it off by 10 till, because I've got my own weekly webinar series that I do every Thursday to show and demo a new tool every week. So let's get going.
Well, we will jump in and get going. All right, let's do this. So Nancy, then, with that said, talk to me, what is the state of the tools, or let's call it the state of sales tools today? What's going on? What do people need to know? What's happening?
Okay, well, the state of the tools industry depends on who you are. So if you are a solution provider, then the state of the industry is really crazy and chaotic, very competitive, very crowded. If you are a if you're a sales practitioner, right? You're a sales leader, someone who's interested in technology, it can be just as chaotic, but you don't care quite as much as the vendors do. Sales leaders are not as interested in technology as we would like for them to be. So I will just throw out some of that. There's a truth bomb for you right out of the gate.
Interesting. Why aren't they? Go further into that. Why aren't they? Why do you say that?
Well, because they are busy. It's not typically part of their role to be exploring technology. So, we have sales ops people for that. We have sales enablement people for that. We have IT people for that. But in reality, the sales leaders themselves have to take more responsibility, because technology has to be a strategic initiative. There has to be a vision for how are we going to automate our sales processes and how are we going to differentiate ourselves. And I don't think that a sales ops person, or even, more and more sales enablement, depending on what their charter has been, they're not really chartered to do that.
Interesting.
So,
right.
Yeah, there's still a disconnect.
Keep going, yeah. Keep going.
So there's still what we're finding is the sales leaders say, hey, we did a survey, and they said, we're always kind of on the lookout for tools. And yet they spent very little time actually doing that. So we just lost Kiki.
Yeah, that's okay.
Anyway,
jump back in. Yep.
So there's a disconnect there. So if you're not spending much time, guess what? You're not going to figure out what's the right technology for you. What's the word I'm looking for? They allocate, or they assign responsibility to sales ops. And sales ops have their own things they got to deal with. They got their own shit, right?
Yep,
to deal with.
yep.
They have to run all the forecasts. They've got to process orders. They've got to be the administrator on a lot of things, for instance, CRM. And they do not have the time, in many cases, not even the business acumen to step back and say, how are we going to plan strategically what our technology should be?
Okay, so here's, for those of you who don't know, which I'm terrible at this, and I'm going to create a script in the beginning because I'm terrible at this stuff, but Nancy is the founder and CEO of Social Selling Tools. Nancy knows tools. She is knee deep, neck deep.
Not social selling tools, smart selling tools.
Smart selling. Oh my God. Season. See,
you are terrible at this.
Selling tools. I'm awful. I'm awful. Smart selling tools. And by the way, Kiki will put it in the comments here. Go to her site, smartsellingtools.com, and she has the top selling tools by category. So she's done all the work for you. So go there, check it out, see what people have available. So she's just telling you about how ops doesn't have the time and salespeople don't have the time. She's made it easier for you. So go see what's there. But with that said, here's my first thought or challenge, right? Should sales leaders, let's start with them, we'll talk about the practitioners later, should sales leaders even be looking at this as if it's technology?
That's a good question. I think you're saying that because it should be a strategic initiative, but the reality is it is technology. They spend a lot of time figuring out how can we improve revenue performance, and that's what this is all about, right? That's what this is all about. Technology doesn't matter unless it's helping you improve sales performance. Right? So it's really not.
I'm
seeing a lot of hands going up right now.
Yes. So it's really not about technology, is it?
No, it's not about technology.
What? It's about what?
It's about how can we sell more in less time.
Good.
And that's what it's all about. Yeah. It's like when you want to lose weight, you just have to eat less and move more. It should be simple, but we have $1 billion industry set up to help people do that. Same thing is happening in the tech space for sales. We just need to sell more in less time. Sounds easy, but how do you actually make it happen? That part's not easy because we're dealing with a lot of interacting with a lot of different types of personalities, lots of buyers involved in decisions today. Lots of companies have different cultures. Companies have different technologies in place already. So it gets really confusing and messy fast.
I love what you just said right there. It's the selling tool space is starting to be like the exercising space, right? There's tons of tools. That's good. I like that a lot. So the reason I asked that question is I really think there's something here, and I'd like us to dig into it. As a sales leader, and if I'm responsible for growing sales faster, how do I make that strategic? How do I make it part of my job so it doesn't feel like an afterthought?
Well, so let's talk about metrics, right? What are people measured on? Because especially in sales, we know this. If you're measured on a certain thing, incented by it, you'll probably focus on it. I don't think sales leaders right now are measured. It's not part of their primary responsibility to say, listen, you are responsible for figuring out how we are going to use technology ourselves as a strategic advantage. Until that happens, they're going to do the same thing we've always done in sales. They're just going to focus on, putting in the screws, saying, hey, what's going on with this deal? In-person meetings, right? Hey, come on in here. Let's chat for a minute. What's going on with ABC deal? What's going on with this deal? Huge, huge, huge waste of time. You should already know what's going on with that deal because it should be available in your CRM. And there's a reason why it's not, which I'm sure we're going to go into.
All right, so CRM is the first tool, right? And I'm purposely, unless you want to take us, I'm going to purposely try to avoid falling into the tool trap because there are so many tools we could talk about everything, right? But yes. I think we're really circling the wagon on something here because you just used a metaphor, and I don't even know if you meant to use it. We said, we're turning the screws, right? Mm-hmm. There are a lot of ways to turn a screw, isn't there?
Yeah, I guess so.
I could use this quarter.
Yeah.
I could use a screwdriver.
Yeah.
I could use a ratchet screwdriver.
Yes.
Right? So are those not all tools?
They are. They are, and that's interesting because I've thought about it from that perspective before because I actually built my own house a while
Man,
ago, my own
nice.
cabin, and so I love power tools. I love tools, and so I think I know, right? It doesn't really look like I would, right? You wouldn't put that on me, but I do. So you think about a saw, right? There are tons of saws. There's a Japanese saw. There's a pancake saw. There's a sawzall. Um, uh, there's a chop saw. There's a table saw. There's a hacksaw. That's right. There's a circular saw, and you use them for different things. So when people talk to me and they say, well, what kind of tools should we get? Well, I wouldn't say, well, get a saw, because that's not going to help. And so it's very hard to advise people about it. Anyway, so that's where as far as I'll go with that analogy.
But this is exactly where I wanted to go, because the very first question a few minutes ago was, should we be looking at this as technology? And I'm trying to take you somewhere, right?
Yeah, okay.
I think the reason, I want to make a statement rather than ask a question, I want you to pontificate on it. I think the reason that many of these sales leaders struggle at making this strategic is, and you guys aren't going to like this, is they don't understand the processes at which they're working, so they don't even know what they're trying to fix. Right? Hundreds of people were turning a screw with a quarter, right? And one smart person said, "Wait a minute, I'm not supposed to turn the screw. I'm supposed to turn 500 screws. I need those 500 screws turned in 20 minutes. And oh, by the way, I need 6 people doing it at the same time. This doesn't work."
Mm-hmm. Yes,
right?
and to further that analogy, it's not that 6 people are using a quarter to screw something in. It's that somebody over here is using a quarter and somebody over here is using a screwdriver. And, people they use things the way they want to use things. What we think of is that if we have CRM, that's our sales tool. That's our foundation. That's our platform. That's what we need. And how people use it, that's kind of up to them. But CRM, it's like saying, I don't know. It's just like saying we've got our screwdrivers and our saws, and so that's all we need. It's not all you need. You got to make sure that you've got the blueprints. You got to make sure that you are using the right tool for the job. But that means you have to understand what the job is.
Yes, you got to understand the job.
Yes.
Boom. I think that is so over. Not over. That is so missed, right? That's the piece that overlooked. It's so overlooked. Everybody runs all around, and no one's talking about that right in the middle. And if you don't, what's the job?
Yeah, what's the job?
I
I posted that on LinkedIn. It was just a quick, not an article, it was just a quick post, and I said, fill in the blank, and what do you want? Fill in the blank. I need our sales managers, salespeople, sales ops, whatever, to do what? What do you need technology to help them do? And I didn't get a whole lot of responses. I got maybe 20, 25 responses, but that's the key question. But they don't necessarily know because they're busy selling.
Okay, do you know why? Do it again. Let's make this an experiment, okay? Do it again, but put it in categories. When it comes to prospecting, I need my people too.
Yes.
When it comes to reporting, I need my people too. When it comes to engaging clients, I need people too. When it comes to commissions, I need my people too. Right? Because that was so broad. Right? That was so broad. I don't think people knew where to go. But the minute you start,
and that was sort of part of the point there was I wanted to kind of make it broad to show that, hey, it's where do you start? But I'm so glad you talked about the categories because earlier you mentioned the categories of tools, and I don't think that's how people should look at things. I think it's exactly what you just said. They should look at things in terms of the category of function or type of activity I'm trying to do. And yet we've always had to look at tools in terms of categories because you have to kind of put it in context and immediately help people understand what that tool does. I've been wanting to figure out how not to do that because nobody says, oh, I need a sales enablement solution. No, they say, I need for my salespeople to spend less time looking for the content that's going to help them be relevant and get through to the prospect. That's what they say.
Perfect. I mean, if you could, I I know some of the services you put forth, but you could probably make a whole new service by just evaluating process issues in an organization and then tell them, okay, these are areas you can improve by using tools. Like I can imagine a 1 day, 5 day, 1 month evaluation thing where you went and say, okay, I looked at your sales enablement, sales operations, prospecting, da, 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 and I said, okay, these are the areas that you can win, because what we're talking about is, here we go, everybody, business process improvement. This is what we're talking about. So it's called sales process improvement. Business has been spending money and millions and billions of dollars for years paying consulting companies to come in and tell them where they can improve process and drop tools in.
Yes.
This is what we're talking about here.
Okay. And in terms of paying management consulting firms tons of money to come in and help them with that, I just heard one of them, maybe I won't say who it is because it doesn't matter, but a big name in the management consulting business at a conference. And they presented that the era of productivity is now behind us. Like, done, that's done. We're good. We're done with the productivity thing. We've wrung everything we can out of the productivity initiatives. And they use the point that the amount of time salespeople spend selling has actually gone down in recent years to 35%. Mm-hmm. And I said, I called bullshit on that, because I said, that's precisely why the era of productivity is not yet behind us, because we in reality haven't done squat to help salespeople with their productivity. And I want to come back to that. But you said, hey, Nancy, you could probably make a whole business or practice out of categorizing processes. And I've done that. And I actually have a document. I've created 2 models that anyone that's listening can ask me for, and I will give them to them. Basically, it's the hierarchy of revenue needs. What do you need?
Maslow business dropped in the sales world. I like that.
In order to improve revenue, right? We're getting back to how can I sell more and sell faster, do it in less time. So that's the hierarchy of revenue needs. Well, aside from a product, which we will just assume, the next thing you need is to know who you need to sell it to. So that means I don't want to waste my time selling it on prospects that don't meet my ideal customer profile. So how do I filter those out? I know who I need to sell to. How can I find out who are those people at certain companies? How can I find out what their phone number and their contact information is? There's a whole bunch of things that fit under that category. So that's the most basic level. The next level is, once I know that and we've nailed that as a company, then how do I get them to actually engage with us? So it's one thing to know, hey, I need to sell to this guy, Keenan. He's my ideal customer profile. I've got his phone number. I know how to reach him. I've sent him some emails. He's not responding. How do I get him to engage?
He's a pain in the ass. You get him to engage, you're a good.
Ship him a nice set of Beats headphones and you're in the door, you're good to go. So there's a lot of tools that can help you with that, but it's not just one category. So how to get them to engage, that includes a lot of different types of steps or processes. And so I've outlined what all of those processes are at each level of the hierarchy. By the way, the next level is, how do I differentiate? How do I convey value above and beyond what my competitors are offering and above and beyond the status quo to get them off the dime? So there's solutions that help you do that. The next level up the hierarchy is, how do I close? And then finally, self-actualization, if you will, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, is how do I get, now that they've bought, how do I get them to buy again? And how do I get them to buy more? So that's the hierarchy of needs.
And for each of these hierarchies that you've created, you have associated, or you can share with people what tools are in the marketplace that help you with each of those stages.
Yes, yes.
Okay,
but
Nancy,
before you get there,
Okay, so everybody listen up. You need to go to smartsellingtools.com. You need to get on her mailing list, Nancy Nardin, and get engaged to her, because she has done all the homework for you. The ability for you to dissect and break down all of those stages of your sales process or your selling process, and then have the tools that can help you increase efficiency and effectiveness in each of those is gold.
Well, I'm glad you think so, because I've worked hard to put it together. And the reason I do is because I want to offer practical things. It's great to pontificate on the market. It's great to put together a landscape of all the different logos out there and categorize them into buckets, but it doesn't really help a lot. It's interesting. So I put a lot of work into it for that reason. If I'm in your shoes, I need help. So the first step is to use the hierarchy and circle all of the different options that I have under each hierarchy level to say, yes, we're having issues with this. We need improvement here. We need improvement here. We need improvement here. Then you can identify which level to focus on. But then what do you do? So then the next step is to look at my second model, which is the sales stack maturity model. And I have categorized tools based on the hierarchy according to jiu-jitsu belt levels. So you've got white, blue. I know nothing about jiu-jitsu. Well, I mean, I don't know how to do it. But anyway, white, blue, brown, purple, and black. Okay. So what this does is it tells you where you're at in terms of your technology maturity compared to what you need. So compared to the hierarchy of revenue needs. So we've got the levels across the top, and we have the hierarchy levels down the side. Okay, so I guess maybe I do that the other way. So let's take white belt. So if I'm having issues in terms of getting enough leads and prospects, I need help with that. Our whole organization needs help with that. I simply look across the white levels and I see where I'm at. Oh, I guess I'm at white belt level because all I've done is I've given our sales reps the ability to search on the internet. I've given them the ability to search on LinkedIn. I'm making them do a lot of work, and they're just kind of using basic tools. And obviously we've got web forms, so we're creating some leads we can give to them. But that's what we're giving them. So maybe I better look at what a blue belt technology organization has. So I should look and see what are the kinds of technologies that they have, or maybe even the brown belt. And then we can see, well, what's our vision? What do we need to, how do we do baby steps so that we can get to the black belt level in this category?
Now, is all of this free, or is this part of your service? Like if I'm a company of, let's say 1,000 with 100 salespeople, and I want to call you, is this something I call you and you give me? Is it free? Is it on your website? Help me understand how is.
So I feel kind of dumb for this because I don't charge anything for it. Now, maybe I will at a certain point, but I don't charge anything for it. And the thing that scares me is that it is worth a lot. There's a high value there. So I hope people don't associate the fact that it's free with, it can't be that valuable. Because to me, it's the only guide out there. There's 3 steps, and that's part of the guide. And there's only 3 things that you need to do. Not that it's easy, but we step you through it, and it's available in that report.
So is it a download? It's
a download, okay. And it's not on my site yet. So anybody who wants it has to send me an email to Nancy at Smart Selling Tools. We'll have it on the site soon, though. So anyone who listens to the recording later.
Nancy at Selling Tools. Okay, this is dope. So now Nancy, as you were describing this, I couldn't help but think about some things, right? And does this tool also call out associated problems or we'll call them symptoms of a negative or poor performing workspace? So I can say, not only do you say this thing, but it's sort of like, okay, you're not here because are you having this problem? Do you lay out the problems too? Or do I self-diagnose?
So here's what I do. I don't lay out the problems. I started doing that, but it can get really complicated, and I'm trying to keep it simple. So in a sense, it's problems. So I could say, hey, here's the symptoms that will tell you how you know that you don't have the best prospect list. And I've done some of that work, but it gets like I said, there's so many factors. So instead, what I've done is said, look, if you have an issue of who do you sell to, these circle the things that are holding you back. So maybe it's that I don't have an ability to build prospect lists, or that I don't have a way to determine who my ideal customer profile is based on actual results of who we've sold to in the past, or that I don't have
a low conversion rate, a low conversion rate.
Yes.
Those type of things can tell me, okay, I think there's a lot of room for you. I mean, look, you've done amazing work already, but there's a lot of room here for you to do a lot of benchmarking and help people understand where they sit.
There is.
Nancy, you're sitting on a gold mine. You're sitting on a gold mine.
Well, thank you. Nah, I just
Yeah,
gotta figure out how to continue to mine that.
well, you're doing great work.
To be honest, I'm focused on just providing some good resources that's going to really actually help the market. And not that there aren't others out there. I mean, but that's what my goal is. And we do monetize our business. So I won't try to fool anyone. I mean, we do monetize our business, but we don't make the practitioners pay for it. Instead, we make earn our living working with solution providers. Because to be quite honest, they don't get it a lot of times. They don't understand that to sell to a sales leader is completely different than selling to a marketing person. Or they may understand it, but they just don't know what to do about it. So that's how we monetize that side of the business.
Okay. So let's build on this a little more, right? Look, how important is it? Because I love this space and I just keep wanting to talk, but you're the expert, so I'm going to keep you to ask the questions. How important is it that sales leaders, so from the CRO all the way down to at least even the manager, have control and have a commitment? Let's go with that. Have a commitment to leveraging tools to create a world-class sales organization. And can you even be a world-class organization anymore without the tools?
I think not, but the reason is not because of technology. Again, the reason is because you can't get there without something to help you automate.
I don't know. Can you start that over? Because I didn't hear you, and just in case of the recording, I think I lost you. So.
Okay. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yep.
Okay. So they can't get there without technology. And again, the reason, are you all right?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfect.
So the reason isn't because of the technology itself. It's that you can't physically get there without automating certain things. And to automate, you need technology. So just as an example, I like to use the lean manufacturing and just the manufacturing world as an analogy.
Yeah.
And in manufacturing, sure, you could have people, just doing widgets by hand and then going and fetching the materials that they need along the way. And you could get the job done. You could produce widgets. Well, we're manufacturing revenue.
Ooh.
And just like in a real manufacturing job, where you've got to automate that sucker, or else you're going to have a low capacity or low output. And same is true in the sales world. If we don't automate it, then we're going to end up wasting a lot of time, which in lean manufacturing world is called MUDA, M-U-D-A. So in sales, we have a lot of MUDA in our sales processes. Think about, just that example I gave you before, which is, hey, Nancy, come on in to my office. Tell me what's going on with this account. Huge waste of time for both people, because you should already know what's going on in that account. And then therefore our conversation can be, hey, I noticed that this is going on and I've got some ideas for you. Why are we not spending time doing that when instead we're spending time just bringing each other up to date? So that's one example of wasted effort.
Wow.
No, you can't get there from here without technology.
I absolutely love that comparison. Thus the black belt, orange belt, because lean manufacturing does the belt, what's it called? GE's thing.
Yeah, it's
what's it called? Help me. Someone put that in there. Six Sigma.
Lean.
Thank you. Six Sigma.
Yeah, thank you. Six Sigma.
Six Sigma. Thank you very much. Way to go, Keith. Yeah. So I love that comparison, and I absolutely love how you say that they're trying to manufacture products, we're trying to manufacture revenue, and we've got to get the MUDA out of it. That is fantastic. Spot on.
Well, okay. Can I give you an example of where that comes into play?
Absolutely.
So as an example, when you're a white belt, you typically don't have CRM yet. It's usually younger companies. You're just doing it by brute force. When you go to a blue belt is when you typically get a CRM system. And actually, that's when your efficiency actually goes down. So think about it. When you get a CRM technology in place, your efficiency goes down because CRM is not a productivity tool. It's a management tool.
And a data tool.
It's a data tool. It's the single source of system of record. Okay. Mm-hmm. And you need that and you need a nice, easy way to access that and to input the data, etc. But to make people use it as their main interface really sucks up a lot of time. So when you think about that number, I'm spending 35% of my time actually talking to people, to my prospects, or engaging with them in some way. What am I doing the other 65%? I'm not on, Facebook or shopping on Amazon. I'm doing crap work. I'm having to log in the conversation I just had, and I don't have an easy way to do that. Why? CRM came out 30 years ago. Why do we still not have an easy way to do that?
I don't
so
know.
as an example,
why don't we?
When we are coming out with tools. So as an example, one type of tool would be a call disposition tool for field sales reps who can be on their phone, and after it's done, you just go through a question and answer, and you go, what level of person did you meet with? Decision maker or VP. Here's the person. Was there anyone else in the room? Yes. It's like being at a McDonald's and just punching in the data you need. But to have to ask people to do it in an unstructured way, to log into their Salesforce, to find the right contact record, to find where the activity button is, to then guess at what your manager is going to want you to input. No, you're never going to survive if you're doing it that way.
So what comes after blue belt? So you talk about going from white belt to brute force, no CRM. Basically, you got a bunch of Excel spreadsheets. Now you're blue belt. I'm assuming you have a CRM of some sort, maybe a couple of other tools. Where do you go from blue belt?
So on blue belt, you go to brown belt. I'm just calling up my little cheat sheet here because, as you can imagine, there's lots of information. All right, so for instance, we talked about the first level of prospecting and knowing who to sell to. So a blue belt would be, hey, give me some sales intelligence tools. Maybe it's LinkedIn Navigator, which I think has actually gone away quietly now because I was a user of it, and now it's no longer an option. So that's kind of weird. But it might also be an Invention or an Inside View, some provider that's going to give me intelligence on the industry, on the particular company and their structure, on who the people are and how to contact them. So that's sales intelligence. You also might get a web clipping tool or a lead clipping tool. So when you're on a site, you can say, hey, I want to clip this particular lead, and a system like a capture by ring lead will actually, because they've got huge databases and they've got all the secret sauce on the back end, you can be on someone's website and say, I need to clip that as a lead, and capture will then produce, okay, what's their job title, what's their email, what's their domain name, and provide all the information and transport it into your CRM system. Okay, so
all right,
so that's blue belt. Purple belt would be
purple belt. Yep.
Okay, so purple belt would be things like predictive lead scoring. So now I don't want to just manually find this information. I want the system of record to tell me who I should focus on. And that's where predictive lead scoring comes in, because it can mine all of the data, all the closed deals. It can figure out what industries they were in, what company size, all the different things that go into the pot to determine who is the best person out of all the leads you have right now to call for you to get on the phone and contact. So, right, you can see we're going up in level of sophistication.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally. So if someone, all right, people, if you have not already, write this down in your car if you're listening on iTunes. If you're watching here on YouTube, hit pause and send Nancy an email, nancy@sellingtools.com, and request this hierarchy.
Smart Selling Tools.
God, Smart Selling Tools. I will I'm staring right at
Keenan,
it.
how long have you known me?
Jesus. I'm staring at it. This is at Selling Tools. But the crazy, yes. Nancy
Smart Selling Tools.
Smart Selling. That's what's throwing me off. That's what it is. I'm looking at your Twitter handle, and I keep thinking that's going to be your email address.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Because I'm staring right at it. Sorry. Yes. Okay. Smart Selling Tools. I will stop looking at her little Twitter handle here. It's messing me up. But yes.
As opposed to dumb selling tools.
Yes. Send that to her. You need this. I'm going to send an email to her, and I probably email her once a week. But I want this thing. I love it. So if anybody has questions, please jump in. We'll get your questions answered. We've got about 5 or 6 minutes because Nancy has to go. And Blab was a pain in the butt to get going. But Nancy, this is fantastic. So what I'm sensing here is we are in the infancy stage. Like, it seems to me that in addition to moving up this stack or moving up this hierarchy of needs requires the sales organization and the ops or the enablement team to really have processes in place that allow them to do a couple of things. Assess how the team is executing, identify where they are in this, assess or analyze the tools, evaluate the tools they have, and then help with the implementation. It seems that the more you go up this, the bigger, more work you have, yes?
Yes, that's it exactly. And so many companies don't have the resources for that. So remember when you started out the session here today, you asked me, where we're at in the market. And I said, it depends if you're a vendor or if you're an end user. And that's because the vendors think we're so much further along than we really are. And it's because they're dealing with companies who are the first across the chasm. They're the leading larger companies who have more resources and more money to spend. So they start to kind of believe that, hey, everyone should be using this. This is great stuff. But no, we're not there yet, because still a lot of it requires way too much administration and resources and understanding. We just don't have that, nor do we have the mandate in many cases.
It feels like a prerequisite to college, right? When I was in college, I couldn't take history of the Renaissance area until I had taken history of the world, level 1, right? It sort of feels like that. I can't be starting to buy these products until I've really set up these products, right? Is that a fair statement?
Yes, that's definitely a fair statement.
Interesting. Yeah. So what have I missed? Like, as you sit here and you think about this, and in the last few minutes, when you know that a VP of sales or a sales leader sitting here thinking about his sales organization, what haven't we covered? What do you think they need to know as they try to go into their sales organization and maximize its effectiveness and efficiency?
I think we've covered some of it. I'll just maybe rephrase it, because what they need to know and really do is think about it. I said the hierarchy of revenue needs starting at the bottom, but you could also start at the top and say, in the end, what do we need to accomplish? Well, we need to improve our sales performance. So what's getting in the way of that? And you're going to be thinking all kinds of things that are getting in the way of that. So if you can figure out a way to group it and not just think about what you as a sales manager need, that's the worst mistake that I see everybody making. And it's because the managers are the ones that make the decisions. They hold the budget. They know what they need. And everyone does a what's in it for me thing. So don't just focus on what you need as a manager, which is what CRM is great for. Mm-hmm. It does sort of help salespeople keep track, or it helps them manually input all the activities they have to do. Doesn't help facilitate doing those activities much at all. Mm-hmm. In fact, it doesn't help salespeople do their job faster and easier. That's the key to productivity gains, and that's why that big company that does consulting was saying, "Oh, we're way beyond the productivity." No, we're not. We haven't even started with that yet. So look at things that are going to actually help your salespeople. If they're only spending 35% of their time selling, what are they spending the other 65% of their time doing? Then start to systematically eliminate or shorten the amount of time it takes to do those things. And in order to do that, a lot of times you have to align marketing and sales. We're still not aligning marketing and sales. You want them to send an email to every single lead that you just brought back from a trade show, when 50% of those leads don't even meet your ideal customer profile. That's a huge waste of effort. Mm-hmm. Because guess what? Then you start hearing back from them. I mean, it just gets out of control. So pull back, think about all the things they're spending time on, and then figure out a way. Start thinking about a roadmap, a blueprint for how do we start to eliminate those things.
All right, I really like that. And now, figures right at the short end of this, everybody's got a bunch of questions, so we'll try to get a couple in, and then you break us when you gotta go. So, can you suggest a good tool for building buyer personas?
Well, that would be a predictive lead scoring tool, because that's the kind of, you could manually go through your CRM and do a win-loss analysis. So that's one way. Win-loss analysis so that's another tool. Predictive lead scoring, because they will do that win-loss analysis for you. Or you can get a solution like an Altify that does win-loss analysis specifically, and then we'll highlight who those.
Ultrafy?
Altify, A-L-T.
Okay.
Yeah, like an altimeter, you want to altify your performance. It used to be Taz Group. They changed their name recently.
Oh, okay, Taz Group. Okay, got it. I know Taz Group. Okay, so Altify is
Revigy's another one that will do that. Membrane's another one that will do that.
Okay, so Membrane, Revigy, and Altify. There you go. There's three. Bahart, I hope I got that right. Bahart, thank you, brother. Okay, we have another one. I get this is kind of long, so bear with me. I get the tools are needed, no doubt, but there is a lot of focus on tools being the solution. But how do you know if the problem with the process is the tools or lack thereof or the people? Isn't there a danger of using tools to scale crap?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I hear about companies that have...
Carol.
Yeah, real good question. So I hear, people are using 20 tools at a time, and that's because they said, oh, this tool looks cool. Remember when I said sales leaders are always sort of looking for tools? That means that if somebody happens to point it out to them, they go, oh, that's kind of cool. And all of a sudden you end up with a patchwork, group of tools.
Yes.
So that makes no sense. The other element I think to that is, I think they asked let me move this out of the way. But how do you know if the problem is the tool? Okay,
or the person, yeah.
Or the person, yeah. So a lot of people think, okay, that tool you just showed me, that looks kind of neat, but can't I just use my CRM for that? So here's the point with that. People assume that the reason why they are not getting the productivity gains that they need, or the reason that they are not, salespeople aren't using it, is that they haven't set it up right yet. So in other words, it's our fault. If we just spend a little more time and we customize it and we put more resources in it, we can get everything we need out of our CRM.
Oof, no.
And to that, I say no. And okay, well, maybe you could if you had a hell of a lot of money. And so therefore you could customize it like crazy and bring in a whole bunch of tools that you can't tell are different tools. Yes, you can do that. Most people don't have that ability. And I'm not sure it's a good use of time anyway. So I'm really big on, and I'm going to be writing an article, releasing it soon, about that we're really poised for a disruption in the CRM market, because for a lot of reasons, but one is because CRM is needed, but don't make people use it as the main interface. It slows people down. If you've got an SDR group, you've got an inside sales group, how are they supposed to keep track of who should they call next? Queue up the next calls, understand what the follow-up is. If you connect with 40 people in a day, then guess what? Tomorrow you've got to connect with another 40, plus you've got to do the follow-up for that 40. It's just exponential. CRM does nothing to help you with that. So we've got to start to look at specialized tools that you use. Don't insist people use tools within your CRM. Make that data talk to your CRM. Make sure that all of that's in there, but don't arrive at that by having them enter it physically.
I think the irony is what you're saying, and then we'll wrap up here because I know you have to go. Here's the irony in this.
I gotta go.
CRM is really a database. It's really all it is.
It's a database.
And here's the irony.
It's a database.
There's no other functional group, to my knowledge, that works in the database. Right? None of them work in the database. So I think it's awfully funny. Yes.
Now, a very important one, because
no question. I love my CRM.
Salesforce has made it great. It's secure. Microsoft, same thing. You've got a nice secure thing in the cloud. You've got a way to have a system of record. Yep. They want to own that system of record so they can start to get more and more revenue on top of it. But I'm saying you don't necessarily need to give them more revenue and make give these specialized solutions the revenue and have it talk to the CRM.
Totally agree. So with that, my take on everything here is, listen, folks, go to Nancy's smartsellingtools.com, reach out to her. My 2 cents in all this is focus on the problems, focus on the process.
Absolutely.
Start work in your business. Or work on your business. Look at what the problems are. Understand your processes. Understand your workloads. And get with people and watch how they do it. And then once you watch how they do it, ask yourself, through Nancy's hierarchy of sales needs, what tool can I put in place to make this go differently? and that's how you really need to move forward. So, Nancy, with that being said, I want to thank you so much. This was a fantastic show. If anybody is investing in tools, you need to listen to this again. Take this to inside your organization, build a plan, get her sales framework, tool framework, and drive it out. Because as she said, we have an obligation as sales leaders to create efficiency and effectiveness in our goal to drive or build revenue. And if we're not doing that, we're not doing our job. Salespeople sell. We got to get the obstacles out of the way and make it easier for them to sell. So thank you so much, Nancy. Thank you.
Thanks, Keenan.
All
Love
right.
you, brother.
Love you too. Give you a big hug soon. Kiki, anything else we need to share with people? Anything?
So I dropped a link for Nancy's seminar, which she's hopping on now. So if you want to see more of her, she's there. And then also some more information on our show in 2 weeks. We have Keenan McLaughlin, June 2nd at 1 p.m. Eastern to talk about his new book, Rebirth of a Salesman.
Yes, Rebirth of a Salesman. You want to be here for that 2 weeks from today. Seeing McLaughlin. And also, folks, if you're listening on iTunes, please give us a review. Tell us what you think. Give us 1 star, 5 stars. I don't care. If you're on YouTube, subscribe so you know they're coming. And always, thank you very much, people. Kiki, thank you. Until next time, peace. I'm out.
Chill to the next episode.